Do you want more? More time, more balance, more love, more sex, more money, more real, and less bullshit? This is the Women Wanting More podcast with Dr. Karen Osborne. Real life, real stories, plus real tips to get you more of what you want.
Let me tell you, sister, 2018 has been a hell of a year for me. For my husband, for my family, there's been a lot of challenges. And something that's come true to me as we're towards the end of the year, right now as I record this, it's towards the end of November, is this simple little phrase, which is going to sound so cheesy, which is the title of this podcast episode, which is something that I picked up in this little necklace in a drugstore in my hometown about two weeks ago, thinking, oh, this is kind of a cool gift. I ended up having it be for me because I realized it was the message I needed for me. I picked this thing up that had these two words on it, keep going, with the intention of sending it to some other people that I know that are going through some really challenging times. And it sat there on my desk for those 2 weeks. I was like, well, should I give this person? Should I give this? How about this person? Well, this person could really use it. I'm a very decisive person. But it sat there until it hit me and I realized that, oh, I'm the one that needs it. I need to have this message for me. And it does, again, it sounds so cheesy. It sounds so like, making something simplistic. Just keep going. But you know what? There is something in the simple words. There's principles. Principles is the wrong word. There is clarity in simplicity. And these are two words I want you to think about right now, because whether you're going through challenges in whatever area of your life, there is a reason and a purpose to the challenge that you're going through currently. And it might not be apparent to you, and you might never know what it is. Now, this is different to me than saying everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason, I think, is just, it's like, I've often talked about this in the podcast, it's like trying to put a bow on something. Not everything has a bow to be put on. And I think it's also minimizing someone's pain and sadness and challenge that they're going through. And I think it's just a blanket thing that people say and they don't even fucking realize what they're saying. Sometimes things happen and there doesn't have to be, it's like, well, everything happens for a reason. Really? Somebody just lost their parent. You were going to throw that phrase at them? But I do believe that there is purpose, that there is something in it. There is a gift. There is a lesson for us. And if we stop at the first time it's difficult, or the 10th fucking time that you've been knocked down, you will never get the lesson. You will never experience the gift. You will never see what you're supposed to see in that moment. And you need to keep going. And you're going to get knocked down, you're going to get back up, and knocked down, and get back up. And you need to keep going. 6 months ago, I had an experience which I've referred to as a breakdown, as I love how Brene Brown talked about in her book, The Gift of Imperfection, one of her first, actually her second book, one of her first books, but her second book, the one that kind of exploded and everyone knew who Brene Brown was, and it was when her TED Talk came out around that time as well too, her first one. And what she calls her breakdown she had for about a year, her spiritual awakening. So I'm going to call it that, spiritual awakening. The things that I knew to be sense in my life suddenly didn't make sense anymore. And so I've gone through this journey over the last 6 months. And it's been frustrating for me. This happened on the night of my 49th birthday. And as I sat in the emergency room, you can listen back to old podcasts and find out what happened back then and why I was there. I won't go into the whole story again, but it happened again that my birthday, which is the end of May, and it was like, well, I'll kind of take the summer off. I'll figure stuff out. I'll just give myself space. And I had this kind of not really a timeline, but kind of a timeline. And then here we are in November. And And there's been times that as the days move on and as the weeks move on that I just go, what the hell? And then I connect with some friends who encourage me. And I read something. And I listen to something. And I keep going. And this book inside me, that the voice that I know now as God, Spirit, Universe, Source, that really spoke inside of me almost 7 years ago now, which is when I started this whole online journey. And I started to blog and then had my first podcast, Moment 41, and then the second podcast, and then coaching and live events and online courses and products. And, I wrote a post about this today, which I'll link up here in the show notes to this episode, which is, it feels like it's coming back to kind of full circle. I'm a little bit over 20,000 words into this book. And I don't know when it's going to be done. And I'm not putting a deadline kind of thing. I just need to trust and surrender to it. But, I've gone through periods, and I had my therapist kind of ask me a question about what's the book about? And, there was pieces of me that kind of felt like he minimized it, but I don't know if he truly did or if it was just my feelings of self-doubt. And so I voxed my good friend Jill, and which is Voxer, by the way, is an app that you can talk into, kind of like a walkie-talkie. You can also send text message or pictures. And I voxed her. She's written a book, which, by the way, is called When the Meaning is Lost. You need to go get her book. It is beautiful. I'll also link that up in the show notes. And I was like, Jill, what the fuck am I doing? This is just this, self-serving, this is just stupid. I'm writing this. I don't have, who's going to buy it? All this stuff. And she was just like, Karen, every single day I had self-doubt. Every single day I said, what the fuck am I doing? I was like, Jill, I'm just, there's stuff coming up with the kids and stuff with, my husband and stresses that he's going through and challenges with his family. And I just feel like I'm getting thrown in ping pong all over the place. And, moving to where I need to, supporting my husband, supporting my kids, taking care of my family, just other things that are coming up as life does, right? And so I've started writing back in May, I guess June, and then kind of put it down. So I'll give myself some space and then would write again for a couple of days and then put it down again. And then write again. And through this, I'm going through lots of emotional stuff and trying to understand. I'm studying books and I've basically at this point too, I've stopped all coaching. I'm I just don't I don't think I want to coach anymore. And I had no intention of any of this. But literally, it's black is white, white's black. I don't know anything anymore. It's just a real, just breaking wide open to really discover who I truly am, to remember who I am. And, God, where am I? So I'm getting all caught up in my own story. So what Jill said to me, she's like, listen, she's like, Karen, I wrote my book 15 minutes a night at 10 o'clock when I knew my girls were all down to bed and nobody else was up and I could have quiet. And I wrote my book that way. And I was like, oh. She's like, what if you just wrote 20 minutes a day? Because I have this whole thing in my head of there has to be this big period of time and, or I need to go away for a weekend and just write the whole time. And I was like, I can do 20 minutes a day. And I sit down and each time and the words flow through me and I look at 20 minutes and it's around 20 minutes. I had one day it was 18. I was kind of just done that chapter and sometimes it's 22 minutes, but it's 20-ish minutes. And then I'm done for the day. And I just keep going. Challenges that have come up with my kids. It's stuff with school and behavior and choices. And it's I just keep going. I just keep choosing new things. I just keep trying. And my son, Tyson, is dyslexic. And every single time we sit down to read, he fights me with it. And we finally come to an agreement. We sit down and I just keep going. Things that are happening inside of me and this trying to control it and figure it out and all this stuff. And it's you just keep going. You just keep putting one foot in front of the next. Now this podcast is not going to be a long episode here because there's not really a whole lot that needs to be said. And there is, I believe, I know, some profoundness to those two words to keep going, that there's something in this message for you right now. So here's your more tip for today. I love doing this one. I've done this probably half a dozen times. I want you to take out a Post-it note and write 2 words on it. Keep going. And I want you to look at it, that Post-it note somewhere in your, bathroom mirror, car, probably your car. Put on your phone, or wallpaper on your phone, like just something you're going to look at every single day. And I just simply want you to look at that every single day for 7 days. Now listen, this could be something that's really kind of superficial, like, yeah, keep going, I got this, like, woo, Just came out of spin class. Everything's like, woo, how you guys doing? Woo, like, yeah, let's go, right? That's not what this is. This is, I know you don't feel like getting back up again. Just keep going. This is, I know you're fucking exhausted and tired, sister. Just keep going. This is, I know you think you suck, and who the fuck are you to do anything at all? Just keep going. So that's it, sister. Finishing up 2 things. Newsletter, get on it. drkarenosborn.com/action guide if you're not getting already. And the Woman Wants More limited edition free journals. There's about 30 left. If you want one, drkarenosborn.com/free journal. So I will talk to you in this episode, sister. A life of more is one step away from you just to keep going and showing up and getting up every single day. I love and appreciate you.
To get the show notes of each Women Wanting More episode, including the How to Get More tip, subscribe to the newsletter at drkarenosborn.com/newsletter.